using Latin, actually.
Last few weeks, I've taken on a lot of new roles, and this week, several of those are coming to a head. So I'm Toastmaster today. This afternoon, from 1 to 3, I'll be modeling clothing. At the Mad Hatter Tea at the 60 Plus. At 11, I'll be down at the newspaper with our marketing person doing that. Tomorrow, I'll be in Forest Grove. I think I obligated myself to do something else on Thursday night, but I'm not exactly sure what. And this all just reminds me that now that I'm back kind of working in the work world in a kind of serious way, I'm going to have to watch how much I obligate myself to do and take those roles seriously. So that's my experience, my first experience leading a Toastmasters meeting. And the other thing is I went to, 3 meetings, and here I am, oh yeah, I'll just jump in. So yeah. So this morning we have 2 speeches. We have Laura Lee giving a speech and Dave giving a speech. And their evaluators are Brian Norris will be evaluating Dave, and Larry will be evaluating Laura Lee. Table topics is Lee. Our timer is Sarah. Our general evaluator is Svetlana. Table topics. Jaylene is for Marion. I think that's it. And I didn't ask each of you to explain your roles. What I'm going to do is, as you engage in your role for the first time, if you could explain what your role is to us, that would be awesome. So, with that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our first speaker, Miss Laura Lee Norris. I don't know how long you've been a Toastmaster, but she has been working really hard at Toastmasters, and I know that because the speech she's giving today is the second to last speech before she earns her Advanced Communicator Gold, which is the highest award you can get in Toastmasters. Her theme for her speech is selling a product from the manual Specialty Speeches, and the title of her speech is Publicity Bites. It'll be 5 to 7 minutes with an extra 2 minutes for questions if there are any. So please help me welcome Laura Lee.
Have you ever stared at the computer screen and you started thinking, as your cursor is blinking at you, saying, what would you like to say? You're like, I have no idea. My name is Laura Lee Norris. I am the Public Relations Manager for District 7 Toastmasters for the year 2018 to 2019. Over the course of my term as the PR manager, I have written articles for the District 7 magazine called Voices, and my column is titled Publicity Bites. These have been in a wide variety of topics, from creating an event on Facebook to starting a profile on Twitter. While talking with the district trio, we decided that there needs to be a public relations manual so that clubs can go from year to year in a smooth transition. And so this manual was created. And it's called the Social Media Guide for the Vice President of Public Relations. It is a 15-page guide that I wrote myself based on my own experience. And I cover a wide variety of topics in this manual, anywhere from different social media platforms to common problems and how to fix them. And you can fix it. And I'm going to ask a couple of questions, and if you have had something similar, nod your head. Have you thought of an open house and didn't know whether or not you could actually produce something to give to the person presenting for Toastmasters? This is a common problem. And in this manual, the third page of it has Toastmasters branding guidelines. You can find a lot more of these guidelines on the Toastmasters International page. This is a summary that is from their page and what they say is allowed. To answer the question, the names Toastmasters, Toastmasters International, and the logo cannot be printed, engraved, or placed on any items without written approval from Toastmasters International. Does your club for real have a Facebook page? Do you know if you have had one, or has there been a rumor that 5 years ago there was a page started, and you're not actually sure if it really was started or if it might have been started and then closed? Well, in this manual, not only can you create a new page if you cannot find this orphan Facebook page, but you can also edit the Facebook page with a guide on how to do that and recover this orphan Facebook page. Now, some clubs have multiple Facebook pages that have been created throughout the years. This guide also talks about how to merge your Facebook pages into one single page after being recovered. What if you guys don't like Facebook? Well, while there are multiple Facebook guides in here, there are also information on LinkedIn and Twitter. This one specifically is LinkedIn. And if your club has decided to create their first LinkedIn page, there is a guide on how to create your personal profile, because that is required before making a Facebook page, as well as how to create your business page on LinkedIn. In the past, I've also done a speech on public relations campaigns, and that is also included in here, and it's based on my experience creating a public relations campaign. And this is the steps I took on how to do my high performance leadership project PR campaign for Fun Toastmasters. And if you'd like to watch more on that specifically, on YouTube, the video is called Laurel's Public Relations Campaign, and I go into detail about how my campaign started and the problems as well as successes that I encountered during that. If you or your club would like a copy of this, please email me at pro@d7toastmasters.org, or you can message us at Facebook, and I can either answer your questions if you have any, or I can send you a copy of the guide in PDF.
What's the most time-consuming thing you do?
Probably the most time-consuming thing for me as District 7 PRM, Public Relations Manager, is getting all of the events from the D7 calendar and putting them on our Facebook page. But as a Vice President of Public Relations, it was finding content. That was the most challenging thing for me, continuing the PR scheduling and making sure I have posts every day.
And what's the best way to keep things fresh? Because that is probably the...
Yes. I not only looked at the district page as well as the international page, I actually have a schedule that I created for my club as a community club with what type of posts to do each day. And this has, so like on Monday, I would post the rules because my club meets on Tuesdays. And then on Tuesday, would post the table topics award from that day. And then if you go down to Friday, it was a community-oriented post. So what's happening at the chamber? What can you be involved in? And then on Sunday, it was an educational post. So a tip to work in pathways, or what I had found worked best for coming up with ideas for TikTok, something like that.
So what is the actual goal of public relations in regard to this?
I have that right here. It's in the introduction, actually. And the goal, according to Toastmasters International, is to build, protect the Toastmaster brand, develop a PR program, promote Toastmasters in your community, and then manage your social media or traditional media while collaborating with your leadership to bring in members.
So ultimately, it's to build membership.
Yes, ultimately is to create a presence within your community so that you can attract members, which is very similar to what you do in a business. You want to sell products. Same type of thing.
I'd like to invite you to take a minute or so and fill out the evaluation for me and pass them down to her. And while you're doing that, it has come to my attention that I misstepped before I introduced Arlie in a major way, and I'm going to apologize to Jamie because I did not invite you to give us the word.
And she did not say it, strangely.
That works. So I would like to invite you to describe your role as grammarian and present. Well, Cindy, I appreciate your total transparency, and that is the word of the day.
Oh.
I decided that I would just close my eyes and just pull out from our many options of the word of the day, just pull one out. That's what came. And this is what came. A transparent piece of paper. And so Lee very cleverly did out. That could be the word. Transparent. And I love that. So I also observed that Cindy started out this whole meeting by being transparent, giving you options of ways to use this word. Transparent about her anxiety and preparation for being Toastmaster for the first time in this group. Another way to use it is we always appreciate politicians with full transparency in everything they do. And then really, can anyone else think of other implications of the word transparent? Because I couldn't. We don't transparently. We don't transparently. Yes, transparently. Do it transparently. Yes. We choose the word of the day transparently. Yeah, so my role as a grammarian is I'll count the times that people use the word transparent in any shape or form. And then I'll also be capturing tons of phrases or words that people use that are interesting and everyone or anyone commits grammatical error. Capture it. Probably won't because I'm not really great at that part of it. But I love hearing creative words. Great. Thanks, Jamie. I'm going to back up and ask some of the other role takers of meetings to describe their role. I'm going to start with Sarah. If you could describe your role as timekeeper.
I'm the timekeeper, and I prompt the speakers and or evaluators to see when they're getting a little close to the end of their time. And then I write it all down.
Thank you. Thank you. And Svetlana, if you could tell us your role as general evaluator. Describe that role for us.
My role as a general evaluator is in full swing. I'm taking notes of everyone who will not be evaluated by speech evaluators. So it's Toastmaster of the Day, grammarian, evaluators, timer, all of you. And I will tell you at the end how and why I enjoyed today's meeting and what we can do better.
I'm going to ask you to describe the role of evaluator for the first evaluator.
Okay, sure. And this is my first time as evaluator, so I'm still learning this. But the role of the evaluator is to evaluate, in this case, the speech that Laura Lee just gave, to point out some of the things that she did really well and maybe make a suggestion or two about something that, where there could be.
Thank you. Finally, Lee, if you could tell us a little bit about future topics, which is coming up soon.
My role will come up in a few minutes, but we will have a topic or various topics that we will assign to people, and they get 1 to 2 minutes to talk about that topic. Just wait and see.
Okay, thanks. I wanted to interject at this point before I introduce the next speech, because I want to be transparent about the roles in our meeting, especially for the benefit of our guests. Follow what's going on. Now, I want to introduce our second speaker. He is a longtime Toastmaster, and he is preparing for the District 7 speech competition coming up in March at Old Beach.
OSU.
At the hospital, no, at OSU. His speech is one he gave once before in my presence here. Does it have a title, Dave? I didn't quite. Inspirations is the title. It is one that he is practicing and will continue to practice until the speech contest. So please help me welcome Dave.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, I am a college graduate. Universitas Oregonensis, the University of Oregon. The school motto, Mens Agitat Molens, Minds Can Move Mountains, is one of many inspirational ideas that have motivated me over the years. But there was a time in my life when no one thought that I would ever have a chance to go to college. I got off to a rough start with my public education when in the first grade I contracted rheumatic fever, and I had to miss nearly 3 months of school. When I was able to return to school in the spring, I found myself way behind the other kids in reading, arithmetic, everything. Nonetheless, good old Mrs. White passed me on to the next grade. And that was my first experience with the institution of social promotion. People want to pass you on to the next grade just because you're a nice kid and they don't want to hold you back. That was a practice that would continue every year up through the 6th grade, even though I was never quite able to catch up with the other kids. Even though kids were beginning to call me names like dummy and retard. I hate that retard. But at the time I didn't mind so much because that's what I thought I was. That's what I thought defined me. But when I entered the 7th grade, all that would change. When a very special person came into my life, a 5'0" ball player named Shirley Galliardi. She was the 8th grade homeroom teacher in the mornings, but in the afternoons, she was in charge of the special needs class. After only 1 week in that class, she kept me after school one day, and they wanted to know, what are you doing in this class? I thought it was pretty transparent. You can see, I'm a retard, a dummy. Don't you ever talk like that about yourself. You're as smart as any kid your age. I'm not sure I really believed her. But she called in my mom to talk with her and the principal, and the very next day I found myself in a regular 7th grade class. Mrs. Gagliardi had alerted my new teacher that I needed a little extra help with reading and arithmetic. And I worked hard, and by the time that year was over, I found that I was pretty much caught up with all the other kids. And I was going to be promoted on to the 8th grade, where surprisingly I found myself in Mrs. Gagliardi's 8th grade homeroom class. She started out every class with what she called a daily inspiration, a little pearl of wisdom to guide us through the day and through the rest of our lives. I still remember many of them. Always do the right thing, even when nobody's around to see you do it. Believe in yourself, because whether you believe you can accomplish something or you believe you cannot, you're going to be right. Success is 10% inspiration and 90% perspiration. Avoid developing bad habits like smoking and drinking beer. Well, I did say I did everything that you wanted. But I did find inspiration from Miss Gagliardi all through that class. And by the time the end of that year, I was not only top of my class, I was near the top of my class. And I had already decided that one day I was going to go to college. As I entered my freshman year in high school, I still looked for daily inspirations from my fellow classmates, from other teachers. And I did well enough that by the time I was ready to graduate from high school, 4th in my class, no one was surprised that I was going on to college. And that's how I came to arrive at the University of Oregon. I'm a little bit embarrassed to say that it took me a little over 5.5 years to finally graduate because I did so many of those things that Mrs. Gagliardi had warned us not to do. But when I finally had that degree in my hand, I knew that more than anyone else, it had been the inspiration of Mrs. Gagliardi that had earned me this accomplishment. I wish she could have been there for me to thank her. But it was going to be another 25 years before I got that chance. It was at my 30th high school reunion. I noticed this little white-haired lady sitting next to the dance floor, and I knew right away it was Mrs. Gagliardi. I walked up to her. Mrs. Gagliardi, you probably don't remember me, but little Davy Kaufman, of course I remember you. I see you never did learn how to comb your hair. Well, Mrs. Gagliardi, I just wanted to tell you what an inspiration you were for me in high school, how much you contributed to my life, and I wanted to say thank you for all you did for me. If you'd really like to thank an old lady, you could ask her to dance. I tried to beg off, telling her that I wasn't a very good dancer, and she just replied, people will think you're a fool if you dance or not, so why not dance and enjoy yourself? Well, I did dance with her that day, and I did thoroughly enjoy myself. Since that time, Mrs. Gagliardi has passed away. But I feel an obligation to pay it forward, to be an inspiration to other people. And I want to encourage everyone in the audience. If there's ever been somebody that's been an inspiration in your life, by all means, say thank you if you get the chance. But more importantly, pay it forward. Be an inspiration to others in your life. You'll be so glad you did. Have a Toastmasters.
Thank you, Dave, for that inspiring speech. I appreciate it. I'm looking for the It's okay. I see that. I will let you all know that mechanical things are not a strength of mine. It's up there. All right. We're safe now. No danger. Well, I have to be transparent once again. I'm looking at my notes, and as I introduced Dave Kaufman in his wonderful speech, I realized that I introduced the speakers in reverse order. So I apologize to Speaker 1 and 2 for making you 2 and 1. Here with your successes. Skippers. I enjoyed them both very much. So now I want to move on to table topics. Before I pass it on to Lee, I want to make sure, I want to check in for times. This is the first time I've been Toastmaster. How many minutes does Lee have for our table topics?
Table topics are a total of 2 minutes.
How many total? How much block? How much, what's the block?
That's up to your schedule. We usually go about 35.
But table topics,
Yeah.
7:35?
You got time for two.
I'd say 4. Only,
Okay, so just for my clarification. All right, so I'd like to introduce Lee. He's our tabletop master for today. Please help me welcome Lee.
Good morning. One of the transparent things we're going to do today is go on a trip. I'm going to assign those who are doing a table topic to be the PR person. You're the president of the Chamber of Commerce for a location. You're going to have 1 to 2 minutes to do a radio ad spot to encourage us to come and visit this particular town or city. So, Larry, you're preparing to do an evaluation. I'll skip you and go right straight to Brian. Brian, why would we want to visit Caliente, Nevada?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Caliente, Nevada, the only place you've never ever been. I'm absolutely positive that nobody in this room has ever been to Caliente, Nevada, or actually ever wanted to. But that's where you're wrong. We have a post office in Caliente, Nevada, a real post office with a postmaster who's pretty much always there sometimes. We have a general store in Caliente, Nevada, where you can buy all of the necessary supplies you want. Alcohol, ammunition. We have a saloon in Caliente, Nevada. Enough said. So Caliente, Nevada, it's very difficult to get to. As a matter of fact, I'm not exactly sure how I got here, which is why I'm still here. But Caliente, Nevada is a wonderful place to visit. There are miles and miles of horizon to delight the eye, and pretty much nothing else. But I implore you, come to Caliente, Nevada, where pretty much everything is same as it has been for pretty much forever. Thank you.
Next time I go on a trip, I'll try to go to Caliente, which I understand the word means hot. Brian Norris, the other Brian, is going to tell us why we should visit Newport, Washington. Newport, Washington.
Thank you for that awesome opportunity to be able to talk about Newport, Washington, and with all sincere transparency, I want to let you know that I have never been there. But Newport, Washington is very much like any other new port in the United States. It has a port, and it was new at one time. That port, many wonderful goods came to that city. Alcohol as well as fish. And I am really struggling here because, you know, this new port here is so wonderful that I don't know why anybody would ever want to leave and go to the other new port. So with that, I'm really hoping I'm at more than 30 some seconds. I'm really struggling here. I am going to and using my transparency, I am going to make myself disappear and sit down.
Washington is about 50 miles north of Canada. I have a port, it's on a creek. So Krista is going to take us to Havre, Montana. Havre. Havre, Montana.
Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever accidentally booked the wrong ticket to the wrong place? Well, I thought I was going to Havana. But I ended up in lovely Havre, Montana. And I gotta say, I think it's a fantastic destination. Unfortunately, my trip was in the middle of winter, and there was lots of snow to be found, and my vehicle broke down, and I had to trudge in the frozen tundra until I could find a little inn. But I bet you in the summer, it's absolutely gorgeous. So I'm hoping you will join me. Let's sign up today for our trip to Havre, Montana. When the fields turn green and all the flowers come up and the animals and the antelope and the buffalo roam around on the plains, let's go. Let's take a yoga retreat and meditate and think about the transparency with which we interact with one another. So join the day. Let's go to Havre.
Wow. Wow.
Two of us together. Yeah.
Yeah. Cindy, you're watching the clock. We have time
Actually,
for one
the train
more.
goes through.
We have time for one more.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. Let's see. Sarah, can you time and tell us about, maybe somebody else could do the timing for you. And you can take us on a trip to Joinville, Brazil.
Join V-Day?
Ville, V-I-L-L-E.
Yeah. What was it in Brazil?
Yes.
Okay, to be totally transparent, I want to tell you I've been going down to Brazil for years, and it's time that everyone start realizing what a great place that place is again. And it's the reason it's not a remarkable name to remember is because you don't remember the name of where you've been. You remember the wonderful people that you've met. And oh my gosh, these people were like born transparent. They're like, morning, how's it going? Saw you last night. You took a shower late. How's it going? And, you know, everybody knew everybody's business. And it was a little disconcerting at first. But then it's like, it was kind of inviting to be in a community so quickly, getting off the plane and then going, oh boy, what a great colored suitcase. Do you keep your underwear on the top or the bottom? And they were just curious people like that. And so I enjoyed my time there. And I think everyone should go there because it isn't about the place. It's about the people. And the people are where it's at. Thank you.
I would like to take a minute to vote for your favorite table topic speaker. You can do that if you don't know by tear off a piece of little paper and pass it to me. And while you're doing that, I'm going to take a minute, wait for Sarah to finish writing, and ask her for the report on the timing of our speech.
Okay, so our first speaker, Laura Lee Norris. I was a little confused because you said early on there'd be questions, so I timed her at 5:55 for just the speech, and then 8:42 for. And Larry was the second, or Larry was the evaluator. And do the time.
I haven't been.
Oh, I have blanks on my paper.
Those are transparencies.
Thank you for that, Larry. Thank you, Brian. So the second speaker, Dave, was at 6 minutes and 34 seconds total. Table topics, Brian was at 1 minute 20 seconds. A minute 20 and 26 seconds. Brian Norris was a minute and 11. Krista was a minute 10, and Sarah was a 2:14.
There. So that I'm transparent with you once again and pointing out my lack of preparation, I will let Sarah know that I may come back to her for timing on the evaluation. Since my brain isn't quite sure the order that I should go next, I'm going to go ahead and jump to the evaluation. How's that? And so the evaluator for Laura Lee was Larry. So if you could go ahead and present your evaluation.
Is it okay if I do it right here?
Yes.
Madam Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters. Laura Lee's purpose today was to share the relationship between sales technique and persuasion. I thought she approached the podium strongly. She's very confident, professionally dressed, and presented herself very well. I love the title of the speech and I guess the website or the column, publicity bites. So it has kind of that double meaning, but I like that a lot. She opened with a question that perked our curiosity and kind of got us all involved immediately. And then she introduced herself, which I thought was a good way to establish her credibility. She's done a lot of great work in this area. To me, she seemed very relaxed. She had really nice hand movement, hand gestures. Her voice was pretty much consistent throughout. There wasn't a lot of range there, but it wasn't a humorous speech or a story, so I thought that worked well. I thought she was very aware of the audience. She had, with a great eye contact, she seemed to connect with everybody, and like I said, she was very comfortable throughout the speech. I'm not sure that, in terms of improvement, I'm not sure that the title of the speech or the purpose of the speech had to do with sales technique and persuasion. And I'm not sure that that's what the speech was actually about. It was more about the manual, it felt like. So there might be a better connection between those two things. It was very well researched, though, obviously, and she really understood the topic. So I thought it was overall a really good speech and interesting and kept our attention. So congratulations.
Our second speech evaluator is Brian Norris, and he is going to be evaluating Dave's speech.
Dave, before I really get into the meat of what I want to tell you, first I want to tell you thank you. You're an inspiration to me. And that's one of the things that when I joined Toastmasters and Dave started talking about being able to compete, that really intrigued me and it piqued my interest. And I decided to start going with Dave and do some competitions. And I was able to watch Dave and be able to participate with Dave in competitions. Dave's speech today was to help prepare him to have to compete in this upcoming contest. And so Dave had a number of different things that he wanted to be able to work on so that he can win. Very professionally dressed, approached the lectern, and he moved it so that he could have his whole body during the contest so that this wasn't blocking any of his gestures and everybody could see what he was doing. When you're competing in a contest, you can also let the person ahead of time know what to do with props. And Dave wasn't here at the very beginning of the meeting to let our Toastmaster know. But I've seen Dave in his competitions that he always lets the person know ahead of time what to do to prepare his area that he's going to be working in. He used the space well. A little bit of a caution. Sometimes the rocking gets going a little bit, and he did a nice job being able to come this way and coming this way, and that was able to try to get good eye contact with the audience, and that was excellent. I loved his gestures when he talked about his alma mater. What did he do? Hand over the heart, and that's really, everybody recognizes that as human beings, that's the love of his, of his alma mater. He used some interesting words, social promotion. And I thought that was wonderful as part of your speech, because that's really what happened, is that people just got moved forward, and they didn't really earn it, but they just kind of got past the problem forward. And until he met his 8th grade teacher, and she took an interest, he instantly started using gestures again of affection, and his voice changed, and he wasn't talking at a clipped rate. He slowed down, and he talked about his instructor that became a mentor to him, and that was very effective. Careful with the first half of your speech. You were using your right hand a lot. Well, from where I was sitting, I put left. But you were using your right hand a lot, and then towards the end, you started bringing the other hand up. So make sure you're using both of your hands and your gestures. Wonderful speech. We all learned from you, and you're an inspiration to us. Thank you.
Well.
I ran out of time, but I loved talking about your dancing with the instructor at the end.
Oh, yeah.
That really pulled it all together.
We could see more dance moves and then
In fact, grab somebody and do a little dance.
Actually, that's against the rules.
Yeah. Can't take it. Right.
The next part of the meeting, and we're running short on time, so I want to speed it through. I know that we have to call on Svetlana as general evaluator, and we need to call on the grammarian and get the vote. And final timing. Does anyone have a suggestion on the order in which I should? Time. Sarah. You can do the evaluation.
the evaluator, Larry was first, and it was 2 minutes 45.
Call on Daily to give a grammarian's report. Right. We use some version of transparent, walking 10 times. Brian wins with the most creative use of it. Transparentification, I believe is the word. And then I noticed some words or phrases that really pulled on my emotions. Like looking at the computer screen and with the cursor blinking at you. I felt that fear. And Dave was talking about words that it was like, it was such a simple word, but the way he and I mean, it's hard. And Toastmaster, that's what I noticed. Thank you. Go back to Sarah for a minute. Did you happen to do time for table topic?
I did. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get those up.
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
She did.
I barely made it.
All right, now we are at the point in our meeting where I would like to have the winner of our table topic.
I was counting, the table topic was swinging one way, swinging another, and it was almost a tie, but by an edge, we're going to give the trophy to Krista.
That was great.
Yeah. Now I'd like to ask Svetlana for our
Pretty green
general
field.
evaluation of our meeting today.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
As always, Yakwina Toastmasters start on time, no matter what. There is always lots of laughter, and for very good reasons every time. People wearing badges, I think that looks really, really good for guests, for anyone who sees you. We had 2 debuts today, Toastmaster of the Day, Cindy, and the evaluator, Larry, said he was doing it for the first time, right? Anxiety was mentioned, but I did not see it in Cindy. She used a teamwork. She was communicating fully with the attendants, with the attendee, with the participants. And she was installing the lectern. She was working with everybody. And they say that in Toastmasters we don't apologize. I don't know why, but every time I hear the apology, it sounds very sweet to me, very very cordial and all that. So Cindy, good job on very smooth segues, and as I said, full collaboration with the whole audience. Now, of course, I'm not evaluating the table topics, but they were amazing today. I wanted to go to all these places that people were talking about. I even wanted to say, we feel so nice here that even if you don't come, that's okay. For one of the places that you were talking, I think it was Brian, and the meetings are always like social events, and Toastmaster at Yakwina Toastmasters is always like, a real Toastmaster with social events for, social breakfast or morning parties, how to call that. The grammarian, Jaylene, you were like a magician. You appointed the word of the day in a transparent way. It was a lot of fun. Really liked that. Timer was very accurate and very well poised. We know that evaluations are speeches in their own right, kind of. And Larry, as a first-time evaluator, congratulations. Your evaluation was classical with commendations, recommendations, and you made a very candid, thoughtful and cautious recommendation. Well, actually pointed to a very important thing in the speech that probably was not really selling speech. So I thought that required some courage. And I think you could, if you spoke a little bit louder, maybe, with a little bit more forcefully, but you have your own style. Even if you stay like that, it's okay. You did really, really well. Your evaluation was very meaningful. Brian, you not only gave very thorough and detailed evaluation, but as usual, you build your speaker. And in this case, it's so important because Dave is representing the club as a tester, so he goes to the next level. So it was very and tips and advice while praising him. Overall, I'm extremely happy to join this party every Tuesday. Thank you very much.
Now I want to thank all of you for making my first Toastmaster appearance fun and less anxiety ridden. And we'll gavel back over to Kristen. Sorry, we did.
That's why we practice it. I forgot one thing this morning. I printed open house flyers. I'm making sure it has the corrected date. It's March 19th for the open house. So I think I have 20 something here. Laura Lee, you were going to post them in some public places. others, if you have a public forum, a business, something like that, and you please post them. And
I have a better question with that. I took some of the trifold ones last week. Did they have the correct date on that?
The trifold ones, I don't think have our open house on them. They are just about the club itself. This one is specific to our open house.
is the sign-up sheet?
Right in front of you.
Oh, thank you. Oh, and I failed to notice.